The Stage Door Show, celebrating the independent artist. With your host, Dave Hondel.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Stage Door Show tonight. This is Dave Hondel. My guest is a wonderful singer-songwriter who has positive messages in her songs to uplift and inspire her listeners. Let's bring her in now to find out more about this wonderful artist. So please welcome to the show, Ashley Morris. Welcome to the show, Ashley.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on.
So happy to have you on, Ashley. And, your music is inspirational. I know being a Christian artist, I came from the gospel world myself. And I believe that music was kind of born in gospel music and Christian music. I think it's where kind of music kind of started. And I love the inspirational aspect of the music. And I know you have a new song that just recently was released in, I believe, June, called Made for Heaven. So talk about that single and, I guess, writing that song. I mean, what was the inspiration for that?
So, it was out of a heart of just wanting to come together as a collective group, like where we have so much division thrown at us constantly, it feels like. And I just feel that at the end of the day, we are so much more the same than we realize, especially with social media and stuff. Like, that there's a part in the song that says, midnight blue lights, computer screens just divide, because I truly feel that the social media and algorithm are like intended to divide people, and I really feel that we can get past that and we can come together anyway, and we are more alike than we are different, I believe.
Sunrise, sunset, another day to make amends. Will the wrongs be right? Will we ever see the light? What we do and what we say holds so much more weight than we could ever comprehend, than we could ever understand. Don't walk away from a chance to say
social media does divide a lot of people, and I think people feel more emboldened behind a keyboard than they do in person, and I think that's part of it, right? I mean, social media is a great thing. I mean, for an artist, especially like yourself or myself that has a podcast, social media it basically gave us the platform to do what we do, but at the same time, it on the other end of things, I think it does divide people. And, how do you think we get past that? I mean, music is great, but how do you think we get past that other than, the music that we play?
I think just, that's definitely something to ponder and think about. I just think that we have more in common. I think I truly believe for me in my life, I've been in the social media world for a very long time. I have built relationships in that social media environment, and it's been great. But what I've noticed is not as long lasting as like the people face to face in our lives. And I think that if we invest time in each other and invest time in speaking face to face and going out of our way for each other and like really putting other people before ourselves and putting other people first, I think we can definitely get past it. I've tried to make an effort in the last couple of years to to be with people one-on-one and to make friends, make the time, and not just, it was so like during 2020, it was like everyone was like kind of in their houses, like being a hermit and I
Yeah.
mean, not everybody, but it was so like it was so easy just to be home um and to and to kind of just I personally withdrew a little bit, almost thinking just like, what is it all like? Is it all worth it? I almost didn't pursue the music and like because I'd already written my first song when 2020 happened, and I kind of just withdrew. And I feel like a lot of people did that. And so this song, I wrote it in 2020, and it was just out of a heart of like we can get past the
Yeah.
differences, and I just think it's important to invest time in with each other one on one. But yeah, I am thankful for social media. I'm thankful for the opportunity it gives us to reach people that we otherwise wouldn't reach. And I think that there's a balance. I think there's a healthy balance with using social media, and then also, you know, like taking care of the people around you too.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with you. And I think COVID, if it did nothing else, it taught us, it kind of gave us time to reflect, I guess, on our own lives and reflect, how important family is, because I know a lot of times families, didn't get to say goodbye to their loved ones, and they went into the hospital, and a lot of them didn't make it out. So
Yeah.
I think it really gave us time to reflect, and and now obviously we're all out there, and nobody's wearing masks, and we're basically back to normal, and then some. Do you find though during COVID that it gave you that time to reflect and actually be a better songwriter, and get a chance to write that music and really kind of put the thought behind it, and and now going forward, have you been able to that process of songwriting, has it gotten better for you or easier as it goes along?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel I did a lot of writing in 2020, and I had already recorded my first song, but I didn't release it until 21. And I'm glad I gave myself that time to make sure everything was ready to go and everything. And I recorded, or I wrote a lot of songs during that time. I think that the process has been easier or the same for me. I mean, it's always been it's always been, which I kind of like beat myself up about this, but I write songs like really fast. Like I'll get a verse, I'll get a chorus, I'll do it, and I'll sing it into my voice notes, or I'll go play it on the piano quick, write it down, and then like get back to it later. And because I have just there's so many irons in the fire, I have so much going on day to day, and so I I need to be better about forcing myself to sit
Yeah.
down for hours at a time and write. But I write songs really fast, so I feel like that's always been kind of my method. But yeah, so I got this song in 2020, and I kind of waited a while. I waited quite a bit of time to release it because I was writing other songs, and this one just came together. My producer at the time suggested this song, and he really liked it, so we went ahead with it, and I'm happy with how it turned out. And I'm also excited about the future projects coming up next year and everything. So it's been a fun journey.
When you say you write a lot of songs fast, how does that come to you? I mean, how do you get the ideas to write songs? Because a lot of times people maybe see something and they jot it down, or they think of something, or they daydream something and they write it down, or they wake up in the middle of the night and write it down. How do you come up with the ideas for the music?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes I'll hear a melody and the words simultaneously in my head,
Wow.
like for a chorus or something, and then I'll sing it into a voice note. Like one time I got part of a song, I was driving down the street and it was like raining, and I just like all of a sudden the idea was there. And so I just like, I was at a stoplight, and then I recorded it real quick and then kept driving. But I don't know. I mean, honestly, like this journey has been it's even been like new for me. I never could have planned this. Like I didn't, this wasn't a part of the plan, like early on.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like just God led me to this. And so I feel like that's more him than me, honestly.
Yeah.
And I have still a lot to learn. So,
Yeah. Well, what was your influence? I mean, growing up, and what kind of music? Because I know you mentioned, classic and jazz, in as some of the elements in your music. But what, I guess, inspired you as growing up? I mean, what kind of music did you like?
I listened to a lot of oldies actually growing up. Um,
Yeah.
I loved the Beach Boys. We had like a Beach Boys CD, and we had some Beatles, and then I discovered Michael Bublé at
Yeah.
like, I don't know, 12. Me and my friends were obsessed with him, and I liked how he was taking all the old stuff and making it new again. Um, yeah, I wasn't like your typical teenager, I guess, as far as music goes. I liked oldies mainly.
Yeah.
And then I grew up in the church, so we sang, Christian music and all
Sure.
that, gospel and stuff.
So you started, I mean, singing in the church at a young age, I would imagine, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I sang with my siblings and other kids, like, since the time I was like 6 years old, um, singing in a church setting. And obviously I found out that's totally different than singing as an artist by yourself in
Yeah.
front of a crowd. It is
Sure.
totally different than what I grew up doing. It's we sang together, and so I'm having to learn all that. So like singing in front of people like by yourself as an artist. That's been new.
So how was it the first time getting in front of an audience solo? I mean, what was going through your head at the time?
It was like really nerve-wracking, I'm not gonna lie. Like I did it at my single release party for my first song, and it was just like it went well. People were so nice and supportive, but it was definitely so nerve-wracking. I was so uncomfortable, out of my element, felt like I was nervous and all that. But I've had more experience since then, so I'm not as scared at least
Right.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes I worked with a lot of artists and a lot of recording artists, they don't particularly, perform a lot live. It can be pretty daunting, to get up in front of a crowd and sing your song. I mean, I've worked with Grammy winners that forget the words of their songs when they sing live.
Okay.
So it's not just newer artists or artists that haven't been doing this a long time. I think if you don't have the nerves, then something's wrong. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Some people just love being in front of a stage and it's a rush, but not everybody, I mean, if you're not nervous, then, I think being nervous and having stage fright, I think it actually means that you care about what you're doing to the point where it's that important to you. So I always look at it that way as a positive, but, the more and more people do it, you get more used to it. But one of the questions I wanted to ask you on that note is there a venue that you want to play? I mean, what's a dream venue for you as a singer to play one day, in the future?
A dream venue. I mean, that would be like a dream venue. I think would be the Grand Ole Opry, that type, or like the Ryman or something.
Right.
That is. I need to be more confident that like that will one day happen. But honestly, I would be happy being someone's
The opening, like an opener.
the opening the
Yeah,
opening
opening
act. Like
act.
I would just be
Yeah.
so honored to be an opener. You know what I mean? As
Oh,
something
for sure.
or just like on tour. I think that would be the greatest thing, like a good way to learn.
Everybody starts that way, and we'll put it out to the universe that you're going to play the Grand Ole Opry. So I'm telling you right now, let's put it out there as you're going to play the Grand Ole Opry, and then come back on the show and talk about your experience doing that. So, stepping in that circle, there's nothing greater from what I heard. And I've had, oh my gosh, how many artists that have been on that have played the Opry and debuted there, and they just said there's nothing like it. Like I said, we're going to put it out there right now that you're going to do it. So talking about future stuff that you've been working on that you're excited about. So what can our listeners get excited about? What are you working on now?
I'm working on my first EP, and I am hoping to release that in 2025. This has definitely been my favorite project so far. I really feel like that in this project, my styles coming together. You know, from the first song to the second song to the third song, like I've tried to stay in the same vein, but I feel like it's been a little bit not as consistent. Like the sound has not been as consistent. Like the first song sounded kind of like pop. I put out a Christmas song, which I really love. I love the vibe of that one.
The snow ain't snowing. Jack Frost is nowhere to be seen. I guess they call this Christmas, but it's hard to get in the spirit of things when it's 80 degrees. The sun is shining, it's hot outside. It's supposed to be winter time, but I think it just might be spring. How I wish for a white Christmas, snow angels and a sleigh ride kiss. I guess I'll have to make do with
So this new EP, I'm proud of it. I'm really proud of it. And I have felt proud of the other projects as well, and maybe this will never change for me, but I just cannot listen to myself sing.
Really?
Like I try to, like my kids, they'll play my song in the car and they like to tease me, and I'm just like, please skip it. Like, but I'm proud of it, but it's just
Yeah, I
really
got
weird to hear yourself.
Yeah, you'll get over that. Yeah, you'll get over. I think it's like actors. Some actors can't watch themselves on screen, and I get that. I used to not like my sound of my voice, and now I like it. So I think you got to grow into it, and and the more you do this, the more you're going to understand that you almost have to listen to it with a critical ear, and I think it's actually good to listen to yourself and critique yourself, and it's almost like when we used to edit videos, it's like you start doing a video and you look back at the work that you did years ago, and you're like, oh my gosh, how did I like that? And then, as you grow as an artist, you become better and better and better at what you do. And you can only do that by listening to yourself and listen to it with a critical ear. You've been doing this for a little bit now. And what kind of advice would you have for somebody that's just getting started and has never done anything before, and they want to be a songwriter and a singer? So what kind of advice would you have for somebody that's just getting started?
I would say that it's never too late to start. If this is your dream, it's never too late. I started pretty late in life, as I think people would say that was pretty late in life. I started, after I had my kids, because like I said, this was not in my life plan. Really,
Yeah.
like I really didn't like. I kind of fell into it and fell in love with it. And then so I just kept going, and I was like, you know what? We'll see where this goes. And it's been really fun, and I've really enjoyed it. I love the creative process. I love writing, and then I love even just the producing part of it, and coming up with different sounds and melodies. I think that's so much fun. And I think you're never too late to start. Give yourself time to learn. It's totally a journey. You're going to trip, you're going to fall. It's okay. And one trick I think is a really great trick someone else taught me at like this writing event thing I went to, is that you can start with think of like an area code. If you know piano or the notes on the piano, you can do like the area code. So my area code is 386. So you can do like the 3 chord, the 8 chord, the 6, and you can start your melody that way.
Oh,
And
that's great. I never heard that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's not my teaching, that's someone else's teaching, but it helped me to like get more ideas, and then you could start your melody that way, and then try to think of some words to add to it or something. And it was a good exercise for me to start with. And my first instrument is piano, so that made sense to me. Some people gravitate towards like guitar and other things, but
Yeah.
but anyway, I think that it doesn't matter like how old you are, where you're at in life, you can always just go after it. I think, and especially in this, speaking of social media, in this current, age of like, what do you call it? Just this
Divisiveness.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So we have so many opportunities to put stuff out there. We have so much now than we ever have. Like we have so many tools. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of AI, but we have AI now. We have like all this crazy stuff. And I just feel like that we have all the opportunity in the world. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good advice. Definitely good advice. When it's all said and done, Ashley, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to leave behind when people think of Ashley Morris?
That I think that I honestly like that I loved God and I loved people. Yeah, and that I live by the I can't remember where it is, but there's no respecter of persons, and I truly believe that every single person has a gift and they matter, and every person's unique. And I truly believe that God has a purpose and a plan for every single human on this earth. And, just loving each other. And I think that's the most important thing in life, is to be there for your friend, to love people, to care about the needs of others over yourself. So I would love to be remembered as being someone who cared about others.
That's awesome. I like that. Thank you for that. And your EP, definitely come back on the show when that's done and released, because we want to hear about that and promote that. Again, thank you for being on the show, Ashley. It's been a pleasure to have you on, and I wish you nothing but success in the future. And I know you're going to hit the Grand Ole Opry circle at one point again. So keep that in the universe. And again, thank you for being on the show, and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this.